All right, guys, I have two good clips to show you. The first one is a Canadian born Indian guy. Let's just see what he has to say and then we'll discuss it.
Hey, where did all the Canadians go? The GTA does not look like Canada anymore. It's more like the third world countries out there. Now, when I say Canadians, I mean Canadians, not like color of their skin, the people that adopted the Canadian culture. This can be all races, including white people, brown people, black people, yellow people. I don't know how many colors there are. As long as they adapted the Canadian culture, they're not pushing some third world country kind of, behavior. That's good. Right now I'm in Caledon, and Caledon is also becoming little India, I guess. And I don't want that. I just want to be in Canada because this is Canada. And I love Indian people. Obviously, I'm Indian. Well, I'm born here. My parents are Indian. But the truth is, as long as they don't adapt the Canadian ways, it just looks dumb. I've been to India. I don't want that to be over here. Sure, it's okay for like a month because I was there for a month. Like I can whatever adapt to that style. But when you come here, I want to go back to Canada. Anyway, let me know. What do you all think about this? Where should I go? Calden, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So this is an Indian, or he's Canadian, but his parents are Indian. He was born here. And this is the type of like Indian Canadian when racism really wasn't a thing when I grew up, right? 80s and 90s, because we had the point system. We had, excuse me, we had people from all over the world coming here. Their parents came here. They had kids. Kids adapted like this. Like he's got a ball cap, a hoodie on. He speaks like a Canadian, and you can't blame someone for having an accent if they just moved. But it's not just the accent. Like that's not what's bothering him. What's bothering him, like a Canadian, he pointed out perfectly, is it's got nothing to do with race, nothing to do with color. It's the culture. He likes being a Canadian, and he is a Canadian, and people didn't have a problem with him. If he thought it was a racist, terrible place, well, he grew up with brown skin, so he would have noticed that his whole life. But he's not. He's like, I like being Canadian. I grew up here. Why are you making it worse? So instead of jumping on me and saying, well, you don't like brown people as a white person, well, what about what he said? I agree with him. We're both from the same place. We're both Canadians. What's wrong with what he said? I'm very curious about that. Next video, another interesting one. Take a look at this. I turned off the sound because it's just like music or whatever in the background, but just watch this. What this is really good too. A woman in Canada, an Indian migrant, says this. This blew up in Indian news. This is a huge one. Okay, so she is Indian Canadian. Let me read it and we'll discuss it. So she's like the other guy to some extent, right? Like, said, my parents and entire family hate the Indian migrants filling up Canada, probably more than the migrants themselves because of how thoroughly they've damaged our reputation. Indian immigrants who were educated came largely from nice families from the city with manners, English skills, and etiquette. These new migrants defiling the beaches, and that's a nice way of putting it, by the way, and groping women come from illiterate, low class backgrounds and have no civic sense or civic duty, nor are they capable of learning. Class systems are real. That's why the strongest right wing force in Canada comes from 80s and 90s Indian immigrants, ironically. So here's another one. She got a ton of backlash from this. Okay. Now, I do want to point out something. Now, I've made some cast videos. I'm going to make more. Now, let's assume she looks sort of light in this picture. I don't really know the whole last names, but let's assume for a second that she's a Brahmin or one of the higher castes. Okay. Which I don't care about. Notice she's saying class, not caste. And what's the difference? The difference is, and it's a very important one, is like good behavior, basically, I would consider high class. Caste, you're born into. Okay. So remember the other video I made where the one Dalit woman, she was so upset because, she was pushed aside here in Canada. And then the other one turned out to be a Brahmin, was like, oh, that doesn't exist here. Well, I would say the Brahmin one in that case was the classless one, regardless of her caste, which we don't care about. And the other one was great. She was attractive. She grew up here. She seemed like a lovely person. So even though her caste was lower, the class was much higher. And going back to the first guy, the Indian Canadian, like Canada, it's not like we care that much about class either. I mean, if you're clean, you throw on a baseball cap if you have to and a hoodie, that's good enough to be like 100%. I mean, not necessarily at work, depending on what you do, but just being a normal person, right? Like first world level person, like, like that guy. That's all you need. Okay. If you want to wear a suit every day, that's fine too. But that's really all you need. So it's what I'm saying is Canadian Indians are the ones noticing it. And I'm just sort of calling attention to them. So hopefully, more people in Canada here will say, wow, there really are some good ones. I don't have to like dive in and pretend they're all terrible. And then the other point is don't blame whites either, because we're agreeing with the other Canadians who are very much Canadian, who are saying the same stuff. So if you don't want to learn Canadian culture from me because I'm white, go learn it from the guy in the hoodie. He'll tell you a thing or two about Canada. He knows what's going on. So anyway, love to hear your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, share the whole thing. We'll see you in the